पास की कोई जरूरत 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 पास की कोई जरूरत
Principal Secretary, MSME Government of Odisha. Guest of honor, Shri Manoj Kumar Mishra, Secretary, Science and Technology, Electronics and IT, Government of Odisha. A special guest, Mr. Sam Pitroda, who will join us virtually. Keynote speaker, Shri Manas Ranjan Panda, Director, STPI Bhubaneswar. Ajay Kumar Mahanti, Founder, NEPO. And Dr. Amiya Nayak, NEPO. Dr. Mrityunjay Swar, KTBI, NEPO. I request the guests on the dais to kindly light the ceremonial lamp on this auspicious occasion. Thank you. A warm welcome to guests in the August gathering also, many eminent dignitaries of DIAS, Professor Ashok Panda, Mr. Ayaskanta Mahapatra, and Sri Debashish Patnaik, and all budding entrepreneurs and audience. A very warm welcome to all of you. I request the NEPO leadership to welcome the guests on the dais. Fostering entrepreneurship has become a core component of economic development in cities and countries around the world. The predominant metaphor for fostering entrepreneurship as an economic development strategy is the entrepreneurial ecosystem. Odisha is now taking giant leaps
Fostering
entrepreneurship has become a vibrant and dynamic startup ecosystem
in cities and countries around the world.
Several proposed changes to the existing Odisha startup policy make it extremely lucrative for young entrepreneurs to start up in the state. Emerging institutions and proactiveness of the government of Odisha to promote businesses and innovations has catalyzed growth and the startup movement in Odisha, like the creation of the Startup Odisha web portal, Invest India, and is transforming India and country's investment climate by simplifying the business environment for investors. Their experiences with the global startup ecosystem provide extension of critical knowledge support to fine-tune policy and operating guidelines. Launching of this GNEPO forum is the right time to motivate and provide platforms to budding entrepreneurs. There is Bhubaneswar City Knowledge and Innovation Cluster, BCKIC, technology business incubators like KIT, TBI, and MSME department of Government of Odisha has already started a setup of incubation centers to help youth enhance entrepreneurial skills and to provide financial and technical help for setting up idea-based enterprises. Odisha is an emerging brand in India, and the state is trying to reposition itself. I now invite Dr. Mrityunjay Swar, CEO, KIT TBI and NEPO, to give the welcome address.
Thank you. Before I start welcoming all the guests on the dais, let me tell you this is called GNEPO, not NEPO, not GNEPO, it's GNEPO. So welcome to the launching ceremony of GNEPO Forum. And let me first welcome the guest on the dais, our chief guest, Honorable Minister, Tusharkanti Beheraji. I welcome you, sir. This is a forum which is going to bring a lot of enabling factors in the state of Odisha, which will enhance the entrepreneurship culture in the state of Odisha. I welcome also our Madam Ranjana Chopra, Madam, the Secretary of MSME Government of Odisha. I welcome you, ma'am. You're the second visit to our platform here. But GNEPO is a different platform which is going to bring a lot of think tank from different parts of the globe and help startups of Odisha, enterprise culture of Odisha at a different level of global level. I welcome you, ma'am, to this forum. And also I welcome with whom I discuss always, Manoj Mishra, sir, the Secretary of SNT and the IT Electronic Department Government of Odisha. I welcome you, sir. This is your probably third visit to this auditorium. And always he comes with a lot of things, the ideas. So I welcome you, sir. Make GNEPO Forum is a global brand which will bring Odisha startup culture to a global level. I welcome Sri Manas Pandaji, the director of STPI. Always we meet in the flight when he goes to Delhi and always discuss about what's to be done in Odisha. So today I found you here, and I'm sure with your support, GNEPO Forum will be a different brand today. And of course, my mentors, Mr. Ajay Mahanti is here. He's the founder, co-founder of GNEPO Forum, and also Amir Nayakji, who has come all the way, both of them. I think Dr. Mahanti is here since 1 month, just waiting for when to launch GNEPO. And ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, since 2 years, we have been discussing how to launch. And my friend Ayaskant is there. I've been heard people have flying from US to attend this program. Especially, I thank Mr. Sunil Sabat, who I met recently, and also Devadatta Das from Seattle and also here. And let me tell you, this forum is going to be different kind. And I welcome all of you. I welcome all the panel member today, the 6 of them speaking, and I, the moderator, the co-founder of also GNEPO, Professor Ashok Pandaji. There are a lot of things happening in Bhubaneswar, in Odisha. I think all of us, we should come forward, and all the leaders on the dais from the government side, they have said, given the blanket or say called Tathastu, that Odisha must build such kind of forum, which is not just a forum to celebrate once in a year a program, but to really create an enabling platform, which will take up a lot of initiatives, which will work with the grounded level with the startups community, of course, the other corporates, and see that these startups are not facing much a problem to scale. So with that, Dr. Mohanty, Amir Nayak, the other co-founder of GNEPO, is going to bring a lot of spices to cook the right kind of recipes. I'm sure with all your support, all startups here, all innovators, I think the enablers, I have seen people is going to bring that kind of platform. And I'm thankful to the BCKIC team also, because they're going to bring a lot of things and see that GNEPO Forum is not going to localize only in US and Odisha. I've been getting calls. I just got a message that somebody sending, you are not inviting me because I am in Australia. So I think just to expand now, and as Manoj Mr. Sir said all the time, it should not be one of the forum, right? It has to be a focus. So I think, sir, with your support, we want to bring first a group of intellectuals, the entrepreneurs who are successful, build a platform, provide all sort of supports, see that GNEPO is going to bring in a lot of, values to the ecosystem which you are thinking of. Thank you. Welcome all of you to this launching ceremony. Thank you, everyone.
The GNEPO Forum has been started with a focused vision of global network-based platform for entrepreneurs, investors, professionals, and stakeholder organizations for promotion of an entrepreneurial ecosystem in Odisha. I now invite Mr. Ajay Kumar Mohanty, co-founder, GNEPO Forum.
Good afternoon. Welcome, everyone. Honorable Minister, Sri Behra. Actually, I went to meet him this morning to brief him a little bit about what we have been trying to do for the last 3 years. Sri Manoj Mishra, so nice to see you here. Mrs. Chopra, and you were a true leader for the MSME sector. And Dr. Manas Panda, who I have known for some time, and the STPI plays a great role in shaping the IT industry of our state. So they are all here, and many young entrepreneurs are in the audience. I actually, on February 14th, India opened up. I mean, you don't need RT-PCR test before you board the plane. Actually, I booked my ticket on February 13th. So we are very eager to come and launch this. We have been waiting for 2 years. The very essential thing, or the message I want to give, I believe strongly that it is very timely that we launch this entrepreneurship forum, because entrepreneurs are at the vanguard of boosting the economy. They are the ones who do. In the US, 60% of the jobs are created by small enterprises. In Odisha also, in India, it's the same number, 60-65%. But COVID has really destroyed that ecosystem. And we really want to bring the global network to help our own state. We studied here, many of us who went abroad, we studied here. We got scholarship from the state, got scholarship from the government. We almost nearly studied free. So it is time for us to give back. So I want to say briefly something about the GNEPO Forum. And can I have the slides, please? Saika? Hello? So do I have something to point? Please, Saika? Okay, go forward. Oh, what happened? Hello? So GNEPO is an emerging global organization for promoting entrepreneurship development in Odisha, leveraging global business entrepreneurs, technocrats, investors, industry thought leaders. It was incorporated as a Section 8 company almost 3 years ago. Oh, what happened? Hello? Let me just. So GNEPO is an emerging global organization. There is echo. Huh? So entrepreneurship development is foundational for the growth of the state, as I mentioned earlier. Many steps has been taken by the state through various departments and organizations like MSME, Startup Odisha, and OHUB, etc. So the forum will not only bring financial benefits for the people of Odisha, but also it will help in a major employment in the state, specifically among young generation. Let me just mention one number. 15 to 35, in that age group, Odisha has one of the highest unemployment rate. It's roughly around 40% now. It was 33% pre-COVID. It's probably close to 40%. So with that kind of unemployment, it's almost unsustainable because the youth is really veering away from any of their goals. So the true effort will come when we are able to give some kind of jobs to the young people of this state. In the post-COVID period, as I said, entrepreneurs are the people who will bring jobs and who will bring growth to the economy of the state. So with that is why we formed the GNEPO. I don't think it is going forward. Hello. So you have to. Can you change the slides? You can change the slides. I will. So the visions are fivefold. I don't have to go through this. Basically, promote entrepreneurship in the state through a global network. We want to bring entrepreneurs, professionals, and various organizations to the forum. Help enhance entrepreneurship culture in our state, especially the professional skill. The need of the hour, I would like to mention that there is no global Odia professional data. The Keralites have done it, Andhra people have done it, Karnataka people have done it. We do not have a global database for the Odia professionals all over the world. That is the need of the hour, and that will help us in the long run. I think it is going to come next year, and we are working on it. We'll organize and promote entrepreneurship in the state through various formats and models, and this is the beginning. There will be a second one or third one coming within the next year or so, which will be shortly announced. Oh, I pushed it wrong. So GNEPO was founded by a group of enthusiasts. I think there is one more before this. Saikat? The objective. Okay. So this is the most, I think, important page from my perspective. We would like to onboard about 100 plus authentic mentors for the startups over next 5 years. The entrepreneurs do get lost, especially in the early stages of the formation. So roughly 100 plus authentic mentors for startups. It can be few hundred more, but our target is we are keeping it low right now, and we will be able to provide or find out mentors all over the world who can do the hand holding for our young entrepreneurs. Enable cross-border partnership, enable and connect them together to promote growth and scale. Create a diagnostic panel for selected startups with a deep engagement plan. Especially the deep engagement plan, the entrepreneurs don't know, something about their intellectual property. What is their market? I'll give you one example. I visited University of Maryland, is my alma mater. They have one of the largest incubators in the country, actually in the US and in the world. So entrepreneurs from many countries, they go and work there because they want to land their product in the US market. When I went there were about few entrepreneurs from India, but about 40 entrepreneurs from China. They were all from China. So they're literally sleeping there and working day and night with the professors, eminent professors of the university. So that shows that we are not connected. Regardless of how we treat, US is still the biggest market in the world. So we must, work towards marketing our product if the entrepreneurs have to be successful. So promoting technology transfer and, giving them some kind of platform where they can really market their product should be our goal. If you cannot market it, there is no point in producing something. Okay. So the next one, I'm having trouble in moving this one. Giving them some kind of platform where they can really market their. Okay. You don't do it. All right. You do it. Next. These are the future goals, how we are going to coordinate the investors and the high-tech entrepreneurial ecosystem in our state. Next one. These are the co-founders. They are all here except two from US, Sukanta Mahapatra, who is a CTO of Ericsson, and there is Saroj Raut, who is a defense contractor and small company holder in Washington DC area. So next one. Here is how to become a member of a GNEPO forum, and it's in the web page. So I would urge everyone to go and take a look at the web page and become a member. That is how we can really strengthen our relationship between the entrepreneurs and the investors. Okay, next one. So this is my favorite quote: the best way to predict the future is to create it. We have been dreaming about launching this GNEPO website and GNEPO forum for the state. This we are doing really for the state, and we would like to launch this in different parts of the state in future, not just in Bhubaneswar, and also bring entrepreneurs in various sectors, be it agriculture, be it IT, be it mining, be it other packaging and other industries. So it will be launched in different parts of the state to bring entrepreneurs from all other sectors. So this is how we want to envision our future of our state. Our state, despite all the richnesses, it can be really, it has remained, quite low in the economy of this country and also economy of the world. But I strongly believe it can be $1 trillion economy if the entrepreneurial spirit that took Kalingas to Sumatra, Java, other parts. We had this great maritime history, and we are trading, and we are really the dominant maritime traders in the world, except the Chola dynasty from the Tamil Nadu. So I hope those days will come and we'll sign the future as the most entrepreneurial state in the country. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. It is a great vision to go local first and then go global. It is an interesting group of mentoring professionals which have come together with their experience, which can help rebuild a damaged ecosystem, which COVID has also caused, and also recognizing lacunae, for example, lack of global database of Odia professionals, and promoting skill development, financial support, creating markets, and providing leadership and policy. So it's a great vision. And the take home message is that the best way to predict the future is to create it. Thank you, sir. Now I invite prolific Shri Manas Ranjan Panda, Director, STPI Bhubaneswar, to address the gathering.
Honorable Minister of State, Electronics and IT, Sports and Youth Service, Government of Odisha, Sri Tushar Kanti Behera, respected Principal Secretary, MSME Department, Government of Odisha, Mrs. Ranjana Chopra, respected Secretary, Electronics and IT Department, Government of Odisha, Sri Manoj Mishra, Dr. Mrityunjay Sawyer, CEO of KIT TBI, and one of the founder of GNEPO, Dr. Ajay Mahanti, and Dr. Ramya Naik from GNEPO. At the outset, first I would like to extend my thank and compliment to the GNEPO, or we call it GNEPO, Global Network and Entrepreneurship and Professional for Odisha, for launching this GNEPO forum with a main objective to promote, to support the entrepreneurship in the state of Odisha. When we talk about entrepreneurship, it is nothing but enterprise is nothing but to have dream. So dream, I understand, dream may not come true, but we have to make it. But at the same time, success of dream by an entrepreneur or startup is more when he or she or the startup entity or entrepreneur is in a right kind of ecosystem. So when you talk about ecosystem, it is government support, policy support, the incentive, the mentorship support, the financial institute, venture capital, all together. So that is what the success rate of entrepreneurship or startup in the Bay Area is more. They are number one in the startup ecosystem. And of course, India, thanks to the government of India and subsequently all the state government, they are coming with a lot of policy incentives. They have notified, they have declared startup policies in different regions. That is what we are number 2 in the startup ecosystem. India is now number 2 in the startup ecosystem. In Silicon Valley, when Dr. Ajay and Mr. Mr. Naik, they are here. When I happened to be there, Iskand was also there in earlier 2005. When we used to meet the couple of friends then in Silicon Valley, and we asked for their visiting card. And when next time again, after a year or two, we again met them and they are coming with a different visiting card. So what happened to your old company? He said, fine, I sold that startup. And I have invested in there's some innovation idea. I'm investing in that. And that is acquired by some company there. So similarly with others also. So we were very confused. What is this? What is this? And if that is the case, then why so-called company like Infosys, they are sitting with the same company? They are not doing same thing. But it is all product. It is all innovation. So those concepts or cultures were there since long. So that is why they create a lot of IPs, lot of intellectual properties, lot of global products. They think in that line because the ecosystems is already there. The industry ecosystem, the funding ecosystem, the infrastructure, everything is present in and around Bay Area. And I would like to say the India also, we, after the announcement of startup policy, government, the Startup India mission, we have got more than 50,000 or 60,000 startup as of now, with a growth of around 15% year and a year. We produce every year, every day, 2 to 3 tech startup on every day. Also, till now, we got 83 unicorns. In last year itself, in spite of all the pandemic situation, we have more than 50 unicorn for in our country. So similarly, the state of Odisha also, we have got more than 1,200 startup registered on the Startup Odisha program. We have got a lot of incubators. They are part of the ecosystem. One thing I can see which is missing is the mentorship, the mentoring support, the industry association with the industry, connect to market, and the angel investors. So that is something missing in the state of Odisha, which is not there with the so-called larger cities, the metros, Bangalore and all. And I am sure the launching of GNEPO in Bhubaneswar, in Odisha, will definitely help our startup to, they will take a lot of benefit out of this initiative of GNEPO. Because when a startup or a student, they come up with some kind of idea that need to be validated. That need to be validated by a expert committee or by a mentor, whether that idea is scalable, whether that idea is patentable, whether that idea is sellable, whether you can get a funded by someone if you have that product or something. So there the mentorship comes and play a very, very major role. And of course, we got a lot of incubation center established within the state. I think some MSME department has approved more than 20 incubation centers, 20 or 30 incubation centers. And my request to all the incubators, if you are here, so we should come up with we should see how we can create a right kind of ecosystem, bring GNEPO kind of forum inside, connect with your incubation system, bring investors, bring angel seed funds, the angel investors, the mentors to your system, so that the startup, the innovator, they can get right direction. So with this, once again, I'd like to thank GNEPO for taking all these initiatives, and I am hopeful this will be a great success, great help to our startup budding entrepreneurs. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Entrepreneurship development is a process of enhancing skill set and knowledge of entrepreneurs regarding the development, management, and the organization of business ventures, while keeping in mind the risks associated with it. Also, it operates in an ecosystem which is different from others also in its own unique environment. Operates in an environment where reduced bureaucratic obstacles are there. Government policies always support the unique needs of the entrepreneurs, and they tolerate failed ventures as well. Now, I'd like to invite our young and dynamic chief guest, Shri Tushar Kanti Behra, Honorable Minister of State, Electronics, IT, Sports, Youth Services, Government of Odisha.
A very good afternoon, one and all. Dr. Mutinjay Sor, Director, KIT TBI. Sri Manoj Kumar Mishra, Secretary, Electronics and IT, Science and Technology. Mrs. Ranjana Chopra, Secretary, MSME. Dr. Manas Kumar Panda, Director, STPI. Dr. Amiya Naik, Co-founder, GNEPO. Dr. Ajay Kumar Mahantik, co-founder GNEPO, and all the dignitaries of the dais. I am very happy to be a part of this august occasion and congratulate the organizers, founders, co-founders, stakeholders, and members of the GNEPO on such an important event. Friends, GNEPO is an emerging global platform for promoting entrepreneurship development in Odisha and facilitating global business entrepreneurships. With the recent launch of the MSME startup OHub by the government of Odisha, GNEPO is poised to play a key role in entrepreneurship development in the state and to coordinate investment in the state from global entrepreneurs across various sectors. Thus, Startup Odisha can be globalized through a network of high-tech entrepreneurs and professionals who are interested to work with the entire spectrum of the MSME and startup sector within Odisha. Our government, under the able leadership of Honorable Chief Minister Sri Naveen Patnaik, has accorded priority sector startups to IT and has taken several initiatives for the promotion of ITES in the state. IT literacy has been introduced in all educational institutes to create brand Odisha for IT, ITES, and ESDM sectors across the globe. Our state government has framed the new IT policy, which aspires to achieve some milestones in this sector. State government has launched the initiative Digital to enhance the skill level and employment potential of technical students holding MCA, MBA, BTech, ITI, and Polytechnic certificates. This has enabled the local IT industries to have a readily available talent pool for their expansion needs. To ensure Odisha as an ultimate destination for ICT experiment and investment, Department of IT in Government of Odisha has established world-class infrastructure with the availability of quality incubation space and plug-and-play facility. Similarly, IDCO has developed 117 industrial estates in strategic locations of the state for the promotion of micro, small, and medium industries. State government is taking steps to modernize and expand 10 existing industrial estates in the first phase and to establish 5 best-in-class new industrial clusters in the coming 5 years under Vision 2025. Government has also undertaken the Startup Odisha initiative with the launch of the Startup Odisha policy and Startup Odisha portal. Odisha has been consistently recognized as a top performer and leader state among all states in startup ranking in 2018 and 2019 respectively by the Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade, Ministry of Commerce and Industry, Government of India. I appreciate the vision of GNEPO to provide a roadmap for the robust startup work culture in the state and create a sustainable ecosystem in Odisha. I again congratulate all the participants, including aspiring entrepreneurs, thought leaders, and business executives in this launching ceremony, who will deliberate on how to make Odisha a leader in startup ecosystem as well as IT sector as well. Thank you. Bande Utkal Janani.
Thank you, sir, for your gracious support for this NIPO forum. Now I request the NIPO team to felicitate the guests on the dais. Now I request the chief guest to officially launch the NIPO website on this auspicious occasion and herald its start. Thank you, all the guests.
So he has to leave, but we continue.
We thank you, sir, for your gracious presence. I now invite our guest of honor, Shri Manoj Kumar Mishra, Secretary, Science and Technology, Electronics and IT, Government of Odisha.
I'll have to call out one nameless because minister has just left. My senior officer, Mrs. Chopra, the founding members on the dais for GNEPO, my friend Manas from STPI, dignitaries who have joined on VC and who are available here. I am possibly, if you leave out the minister, then I'm the first person from the government to speak. How much importance we give to this forum, you can gauge from the fact that at 4 o'clock, the state's budget is being presented in the assembly. And ma'am, I have taken leave of the house and come here. Minister still found time to give here, and then he's rushing back to join there. This is New Odisha. We don't only talk, we mean business, we walk the talk. I have been in the IT ecosystem for the last 2.5 years, and I'll start with the shortcomings of our people who are outside Odisha or outside India. Many of them want to come back, but all of them want to come back alone, on their own. And everyone wants to do the same thing. So all that they expect or want is maybe a piece of land somewhere, some 20, 30 engineers who can start the same thing and start SI. But that's not how real change can happen in the sector. And this is why I commend, I congratulate GNEPO, all the founding members, to bring a platform. So unless you use the platform, nobody goes forward. Manas gave example of when he was in the Silicon Valley and people changing names. You know how they became successful in Silicon Valley? The alumnus. If you are from a particular IIT, then you will get hundreds of opportunities. Don't forget the importance of the soft power. What we see on the biodata, what we see on the paper and on the reason of a company, often we miss out what is behind it, who is behind it. And we have to admit that life is not fair and all. So if you say that everybody should have equal opportunities, then you are not in the right world. Maybe you have to look for somewhere else. Life is unfair. There are people who can help us. And now we are at a cusp where we have enough, that threshold level of human capital who are there not only in Odisha, outside USA, Europe, and everywhere else. And how do we bring them together and utilize that asset for our own betterment? So this is what we need to do. We need to be a little cutthroat, need to be a little more aggressive. Time for being shy is gone. In fact, I keep telling that when people say that we are not entrepreneurial enough as a state, I think we are a little short-sighted. If you go back a little more in the history, what Dr. Mahanti told about our maritime exploits is very well known. In fact, if you go to the temple of Konark and you explain to any expat or any foreigner that how to calculate time to the accuracy of 3 minutes, just looking at the shadow that the sun creates on the wheel, it is mesmerizing. What the ability to think of novelty, to innovate is absolutely mesmerizing in the blood of the Odias. So don't take all this normal discussion that Odias are not good enough, they don't have the entrepreneurial blood. It is that our time had not come. So you can't, if it takes maybe 9 months to come out, it will take 9 months. So you can't think that if our ecosystem were to be better, if the government were to give better support, then we'll produce a baby in 3 months. It doesn't happen. This is our time. In 20 years back, when we were in colleges, when we went to Delhi for the first time, we had a little bit of shame in us to say that we are from Odisha. Why? The only news that about Odisha that will get carried in the national newspapers were selling children for your own food or hunger deaths in Kalahandi, KBK district. Nothing else. Today, you go to Delhi, you land up Delhi, Mumbai, or anywhere. When you pick up your bags at the airport, the first thing you see is the India's best kept secret. We are not shy anymore. The government is not shy. There is a spring in the step of everyone that I come across. And this is how we have created things which now India wants to emulate from us. We have the first city to have straight drink from tap in the country is Puri. Not Delhi, not Bombay, not Pune, not Hyderabad, not Bangalore, Puri. And Bhubaneswar will be in, I think, end of 2022, Bhubaneswar will be there. So 16 cities will come on the board on drink from tap mission. We, from the hunger death, where we were not producing enough rice, to the third largest contributor to the national PDS system. We have come a long way. So if you have a little bit of braggish arrogance, keep it. It's needed in the sector that you are in. We are the proud host of Hockey World Cup. 14 hardcore European nations come and play hockey. They don't play cricket. So people may not realize when you host back-to-back Hockey World Cups in one particular country. This is the first time any country is hosting back-to-back. So we had in Bhubaneswar. Now we'll have jointly hosted by Bhubaneswar and Rourkela in January 23. You talk about whom? You talk about England, you talk about Spain, you talk about France, you talk about Germany, you talk about Belgium. The hardcore, pure Europeans, they come here. That is where the entire space of tourism will change. And what plans that we have for the heritage city Puri, it is, you need to wait, hold your breath and see in probably in 2 years' time, it will be something else. So if you are talking about Bay Area now, people will talk about Puri area sometimes in future. So I'm quite proud, I'm quite excited. This forum is useful, this forum is what we need, and we need not be shy about this. And we need to collaborate, we need to network. So in USA, if you go, lobbying is a good word. In Odisha, if you say lobbying, then it becomes a bad word. So leave that aside. So networking is a must. You need to rise over somebody else. So take that opportunity. This network, I hope, will be able to provide that opportunity. We do a lot of collaboration in the government. In fact, I keep telling this everywhere where I see entrepreneurs, that if you actually go back and see, forget about Silicon Valley, you look up to Bangalore or Hyderabad and Pune who have marched ahead in the space of IT. The space of IT has not become that big in those cities because of government. It has become big in absence of government. Here in a state, it is not only absence, we are positively promoting. And I would need all of you to be our spokesperson of the government. When we are going to launch now, we have 3 sectoral policies we have come out with in the space of IT. We have an electronic manufacturing policy, which is the best in the country in terms of incentives and others. We realize the importance of employment. We have now a BPO policy of the state in 2022 that has already got cabinet's approval. And only 2-3 days back, we got the state data center policy, which is the first data center policy in the country to have come up. We expect about 1,000 crore investment in next 2 years. So with this, the mother policy of the IT policy 2014 is getting completely refurbished. And this possibly will come to the public forum in next 2 to 3 weeks. And I would want all of you to take it forward and tell people what we are offering. And it is not only the absence of the government, there's a positive contribution to the government is there when you come back and want to do something here. Or our people want to go abroad, then you need to give that ecosystem. So I want my entrepreneurs, the valued people in the ecosystem to be aggressive and to support each other. That's the only thing that we require. So when we see people from one particular community, Telugu is doing so well in parts of US. You see people from Kerala doing so well in Canada. So is people from Punjab. Why is that Odia community is so shy and they remain in silos? Come out, be aggressive, and this is your chance. So that's all. Congratulations to all. Thank you. I really feel privileged to be here, to have been called to this forum to inaugurate. Godspeed. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir, for your motivation to call out to all entrepreneurs to be open, to be networking, to be discussing, and blend social, economic, cultural, and political components within a region to further improve the entrepreneurial ecosystem. Thank you so much. Now I invite our esteemed guest of eminence, Mrs. Ranjana Chopra, Principal Secretary, MSME, Government of Odisha.
My colleague and Secretary, ENIT Department, Manoj, Dr. Suwar, Dr. Manas Panda, the founders of GNEPO, Dr. Ajay Mohanty, Dr. Abhay Nayak. I just hope I'm getting the names right. The other founders who are off the dais, the entrepreneurs who are here, young students, and all those who are connected with us virtually. I deem it as a great honor and privilege to be a part of the occasion today because I feel that this occasion is going to mark a paradigm shift in how Odisha is viewed by the world, and also will play a very important role in reimagining Odisha and the Odia diaspora. Now, my colleague Manoj has already started a very interesting narrative. Let me add a little bit to it and say as to how Odisha's image is being redefined at this point of time. 20 years back, yes, Odisha was largely representative of an agrarian economy and was known outside the state for things which are not rather pleasant. But today, in case we look at the economy of Odisha, we find that the MSME sector alone, there are 19 lakh MSMEs in the state of Odisha, employing about 33 lakh people, out of which 8 lakh are women. So it is not only growth, it is also growth which is highly inclusive. So women are playing a very important role in the growth story of Odisha. Now, Dr. Manas Panda, when he was speaking, he was mentioning a few data sets about the startups. I'll just add to what he was mentioning. The 1,200 odd startups that have been incubated in the state of Odisha in the last 3 years, you would be happy to know that out of these 1,200 odd startups, 354 startups are today revenue generating. More than 135 startups have been, despite all the constraints and challenges, have been able to get secure finance from external sources. Now, this ratio, in case we were to look at an all India ratio, you would find that this ratio of about 30% of startups being able to generate revenue for itself is probably best in the country. Now, as far as the ranking framework of startups is concerned, it is again very encouraging. Odisha is placed among the top 5 states in the country. But let me assure you that this story is going to change very, very soon. And I see no reasons why Odisha will not become the top performing or the best performing state as far as startups is concerned. No, but this is not pure optimism. I have a logic behind what I am saying. Now, the logic is just as we are proud of our ENIT technology, similarly, we are in the process of reframing our startup policy. And very interestingly, just to show how engaged the government is and how positive the political will is, that a few days back, there was a meeting in the government where we were discussing the startup policy, and I was told that you forget about the draft that you are having. Please look at all the startup policies that the other states have, and let's try and make it the most attractive startup policy in the country. So this is one reason why I feel that this is a particular ecosystem which is actually destined to thrive. So startup policy is going to play a small role, but we know that startup is a generic umbrella. Now, startup policy by itself will not be able to fulfill the desires and appetites of the entrepreneurs in case it is not supported by the corollary and the related policies. ENIT already has a very strong policy. We are also interestingly coming up with a new MSME policy wherein we are going to have a special procurement preference for the startups and MSMEs who are homegrown, who are from within the state of Odisha. Then we are coming up with a new food processing policy. A lot of our startups are actually agro and food based. So we are also in the process of revising our procurement policy, which is going to be a generic policy, which will be helping the startups which are growing in Odisha and the enterprises which are flourishing in Odisha. The third reason why I'm positive is that the government at this point of time is already budgeting, and it is also looking at allocating large resources for the development of this sector. So for example, in MSME, it is not only the industrial parks and the industrial estates. We are now looking at creating of common facility centers, whether it is processing. We are in the process of strengthening our testing laboratories. We have 6 testing laboratories, and the mandate that we are having today is that within a year's time, we will make sure that all these 6 laboratories are NABL accredited. The reason is that when we look at the startup, a nascent startup would have certain requirements. The primary requirement that the nascent startup would have is that before the startup starts prototyping or moves away from the stage of ideation, they have to test their products. And in case, let's say, the testing facilities are not adequately available, then they're dependent on sources which is outside the geographical boundaries of the state. It puts financial pressure on this young boy or girl who is trying to become an entrepreneur. So towards that, we are trying to fill these gaps. The speakers before me have already introduced OHub. We are really proud of the infrastructure that we have created. I urge all of you to visit it. It is not only stone and masonry work that has been done. It is actually, it also reflects the vision that the government has as far as this particular sector is concerned. Now, I was also very touched by what Dr. Mohanty was saying before me in his inaugural comments when he was making that the Oriya diaspora now spread across the globe is now itching to do something for the state. And here I was reminded of a very interesting story. I request all of you to indulge me. So this is about this young Silicon Valley entrepreneur who actually, and somewhere I think Dr. Mohanty said that we owe it to the state. Whatever we are today, we owe it to the state. So this young man in 1991, he became a Silicon Valley entrepreneur, but he says that in 1991, when he was about 14 years old, his father, who was a junior engineer in Lift Irrigation Corporation, he died a very premature death. And at this point of time, this family, which was otherwise belonging to a middle-class strata in society, was suddenly rendered destitute. So at that point of time, Shri Biju Patnaik, who was the then chief minister, extended 50,000 rupees to this family out of the CM Relief Fund. With that 50,000 rupees, this boy, the family got stabilized. He was able to do his engineering from NIT, went to Silicon Valley, did well, came back in 2014 and started a tuition center in his village. Now from the tuition center, he then started experimenting in edutech. And today we are very proud to onboard him in OHub as one of our startup entrepreneurs. And I'm talking of Aveti Learning, and the gentleman is Biswajit Nayak, who actually owed it to the state and wanted to come back and contribute to the state. And another interesting, sentiment which was conveyed to me being part of the government by the Oriya diaspora was, which was again very, very touching, that as a build-up to the Make in Odisha 2016 events, a team of officers and honorable ministers from government of Odisha went to Silicon Valley. And I was at that point of time secretary of the School and Mass Education Department. And when I came back, the then minister, who was actually honorable minister who happened to be both industries and school and mass education, he said that I want to discuss about certain points on which we need to take action after my visit to the Silicon Valley. And in my head, I was thinking that what does he have to do with me in School and Mass Education Department? And you'll be surprised as to what is the demand that the Uriya family settled in Silicon Valley when they learned that he also is looking after the education department. So they asked him that, is it possible for the Board of Secondary Education in Odisha to hold the Uriya examination for us in Silicon Valley for our children, because we would like our children to remain connected with the language and the state. So that was the request there. So then we tried and did it. So now you can give your ME exams there, and the board is able to evaluate it online. So this is the kind of interest I have seen that the diaspora has for coming back to the state and becoming a part of the progress story of the state, which is now very, very exciting. So in this backdrop, I once again congratulate the founders and the organizers of the GNEPO team. I think there cannot be an event which is more timely than this. This is where especially, the mentorship gap, with the potential of filling the mentorship gap that this platform has, is immense. And I think it is with great excitement I look at GNEPO leadership, the team, and look forward to collaborating with them to make sure that we are able to have scalable entrepreneurs, and that we are able to give certain creative solution to our young boys and girls and people who are in rural areas and who are experimenting with technology at this point of time. Thank you once again. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Government of Odisha is taking several steps for encouraging inclusivity, promoting women entrepreneurship, and supporting with a robust startup and MSME policy to promote homegrown entrepreneurs, food startups, and also providing infrastructure for testing products before they are launched. Also, interesting story about how Oriya people would like to connect back to their roots and to fill the mentorship gap. Now, moving on, we have a special guest who will join us virtually, Mr. Sam Pitroda. Most of you know about him. He's a telecommunications engineer, inventor, entrepreneur, popularly known as the father of India's computer and IT revolution. Also, he was the chairman of the National Knowledge Commission and the chairman of National Innovation Council. So I request him to motivate and address the gathering. So, Sekat, can we have the video, please? Entrepreneur, popular India's computer and IT revolution. Also, he was the chairman of the National Knowledge Commission and the chairman of National Innovation Council. So I request him to entrepreneur, popular India's computer and IT revolution. Also, he was the chairman of the National Knowledge Commission and the chairman of National.
Dr. Jaiswar, Dr. Amaya Nayak, and the core team at GNEPO, greetings from Chicago. It is indeed a special honor and privilege for me to be with you at this global launch of Global Network of Entrepreneurs and Professionals for Odisha. My compliments to all of you who worked on this initiative and finally decided to launch it today. I wish you all the best, and I want to take this opportunity to say a few words. I was born and raised in Odisha, small little tribal village, in 1942 in British Raj. I have a very special affection, love, and feelings for Odisha. Similarly, I've been fortunate enough to get huge amount of love and affection from the people of Odisha, from the government of Odisha, and all kinds of friends that I have in the US who belong to Odisha. So the initiative we are taking today is indeed going to help in many different ways, because we all know that there are a large number of very talented people from Odisha abroad. They are also back in India, but some of us who came abroad got special opportunity to be exposed to broader spectrum of activities. We have people in education, health, science and technology, business, banking, you name it, and people from Odisha are there, occupying important position, making substantial contribution. Unfortunately, we have not been able to harness this resource in the past. A lot of people have done it on their own at individual level. Some have been very successful. Others have found it very difficult to find the right entry point and make a difference. And as a result, I believe organized effort to network people is going to be very important. There is a lot of talent, and the need in Odisha is equally great. So your supply, your demand. The key question is, how do we connect them in an effective way so that we can indeed add value? First task is to really create a database. I don't think we have a good database of doctors, scientists, engineers, entrepreneurs in variety of categories. Second thing is to connect these people through social media. LinkedIn is a good example. And really begin conversation among themselves to see what can be done in each of these areas. I know based on my experiences that mentoring is a great need in India. A lot of young entrepreneurs need mentoring by someone who has been through the journey. Then put people on advisory boards of some of these companies. The key is to really begin conversation, share experiences, give advice and input, talk about market, help them develop product, give them help on investments, and guide younger people to really create jobs in Odisha. The need in agriculture, health, education, IT are very sort of well-known needs. The question is, what are we going to do to scale it? And I hope the initiative we are taking today would help all of us in scaling this initiative. I wish you all the best. If I can be of any help, I'd be more than happy to participate. And I really want to compliment you once again for taking this initiative. And I'm sure you will make a contribution. Thank you.
Inspiring words from Mr. Sam Putroda. Someone sitting in the shade today because someone planted a tree long time ago. So he started it a long time ago, and still the journey is continuing and giving us good tips on mentoring budding entrepreneurs and to develop a positive entrepreneurial ecosystem. So now we move on to our next segment, which is called as Open Bootcamp. So the Open Bootcamp program, Open means Odisha Pitching Come Entrepreneurship Bootcamp, supported by Science and Technology Department, Government of Odisha, is a total 60 days entrepreneurship bootcamp program. The objective is to spread awareness about entrepreneurship opportunities, discover bright, innovative ideas from multiple colleges, universities in Odisha, and to provide access to incubation support, mentorship, and funding opportunities for the idea to POC building. The program aims to reach out to 30 institutes from major districts of Odisha and ignite 700 plus young minds. All students and student-led startups can apply online, and the best ideas will be supported in terms of product development, fundraising, IP support, etc., from leading incubators. So now it's the time to officially launch Open Odisha Pitching Come Entrepreneurship Bootcamp, a first of its kind initiative by Science and Technology Department, Government of Odisha. This 60-day structured program invites innovative ideas from students from major districts to transform ideas to reality. So I now invite Shri Manoj Kumar Mishra, Secretary, Science and Technology, Electronics and IT, Government of Odisha, and Mrs. Ranjana Chopra, Principal Secretary, MSME, Government of Odisha, to formally launch the Open Bootcamp. We also request the dignitaries to launch the program brochure. Now also the launch of the website, and we can play the launch video, please. Excellent video, and as the tune of the video shows that it's very invigorating and enthusiastic, and hopefully this program will be as invigorating as the music. So as we have almost come to the end of our program, now I request Dr. Amir Nayak, co-founders GNEPO, to give the vote of thanks.
Greetings and namaskar. Welcome to GNEPO. My name is Amir Nayak. I am originally from Odisha and based in the US for last 30 years. I am one of the co-founders of GNEPO along with my colleagues. I'm a business development entrepreneur in biotechnology, vaccines, and biopharmaceuticals industry sectors. I'm passionate about Odisha entrepreneurship development, and most of the times I work behind the scene because I'm an outsider. On behalf of GNEPO, it is my honor and privilege to offer vote of thanks to the honorable dignitaries, guest speakers, panelists, participants, anchor, host, and the GNEPO core team. Honorable Minister of IT, Electronics, Mr. Tusharkanti Behera, is our chief guest for the GNEPO Global Launch. Thanks for his speech and vision for important sectors like IT and electronics. Esteemed Principal Secretary, MSME Department, Government of Odisha, Madam Mrs. Ranjana Chopra is our guest of eminence. Thanks for your speech and encouraging comments on MSME entrepreneurships. Esteemed Secretary of Science and Technology, Electronics, IT, Mr. Santosh Mishra is our guest of honor this evening. Thanks for your speech, ideas. Sorry, I'm so sorry, I apologize. Yes. So this is what outsiders do. I'm so sorry. Let me repeat, esteemed Secretary of Science and Technology, Electronics and IT, Mr. Manoj Mishra is our guest of honor. Thanks for your speech, ideas, and science and technology-based entrepreneurships and innovation marketplace development idea that you have offered to us. We have been talking, and we'll create a business model for that on behalf of or through GNEPO. Esteemed Director of STPI, Mr. Manas Panda is our keynote speaker. Thanks for your speech and comments and software and IT, ITS, and interrelated industries within the park and the related incubations. Thanks to Dr. Ajoy Mohanty, our major co-founder, Director of GNEPO, for introducing GNEPO as a global network for Odisha that is evolving. Thanks to Mr. Sam Pitroda, serial entrepreneur, former advisor to the 3 Prime Ministers of India, Government of India, for his virtual presence and sending his video speech from Chicago. Thanks to all the co-founders of GNEPO, Dr. Ajay Mohanty, Mr. Ayaskant Mohanty, we call him AK, Mr. Ashok Panda, Dr. Sukant Mahapatra, who could not travel, based in the US, Mr. Saraj Raut from the US, and Dr. Mrityunjay Shuar, we call him Jay, and myself for co-organizing the GNEPO Global Launch. But we must thank Dr. Suwar and Dr. Vishaka Raina for co-hosting this long-awaited event. Thanks to Mr. Saikat Gupta, a talented technologist and a startup entrepreneur from KTBI who helped us in the website design, provided tech support such as internet, YouTube, Zoom, LinkedIn, Facebook, and preparing various materials for the lunch. Thanks to the entire staff of KTBI for their kind help and services in organizing this event. I would like to take this opportunity to thank our company secretary, Mr. Surata Satpathy, for his help in incorporating GNEPO as a Section 8 company. Thanks to the anchor, Dr. Bisakha Raina, Dean, Professor Biotechnology, KSVT, KIT University, a bio-entrepreneur herself, for innovative anchoring. Finally, thanks to Dr. Jay Swar, I call him Jay, co-founder, director of GNEPO, for hosting and organizing this long-awaited global launch. Without him, this would not have been possible. Thanks to the entrepreneurs in the audience, would-be entrepreneurs, startups, pre-startups, professionals, participants from various organizations, global members, for attending the event in person or virtually. Thanks.
I'll be requesting Iskandi and also Pandaji, please come on the dais where you take a picture with. Thank you. So nobody should leave the hall now. We have an interesting session now. We'll be meeting different personalities from Odisha. We're doing extremely well. And just see them up.
You have to excuse us.
I know. So I will.
That's what
I don't. Sir, ଆପଣ ମାନେ
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Odisha is an emerging brand in India, and the state is trying to reposition itself by leveraging developments in infrastructure, industries, educational, socio-economic, human resources, information, entrepreneurship, MSME, and natural resource management. And technology business incubators can play an important role in transforming the developing state into a developed state in the future. The government in Odisha needs to embrace technology and upskill their policymakers to support these drivers of innovation, who in turn will solve a lot of our problems, such as youth unemployment, social issues, health and education challenges. Now, we will have a roundtable on developing, mentoring, and nourishing an entrepreneurship ecosystem in Odisha, a tangible framework. I would like to invite our moderator, Professor Ashok Panda, STPI Bhubaneswar, to coordinate the session. Hello. Hello.
A very good afternoon to all the esteemed guests and participants of today's event. So now, after the inaugural session, the next session, as you could see from the program, is developing, mentoring, and nourishing entrepreneurship ecosystem in Odisha, a tangible framework. So we have a very eminent panel for this discussion, for this roundtable today. I would like to invite all the panelists to dais. Sri Debasis Patnaik, more popularly known as Sri Debu Patnaik, President TAI Bhubaneswar. Kindly come to the dais. Professor Saroj Naik, Karma Technology, IIT Bhubaneswar. Mr. Ayskand Mohanty, co-founder and MD of Tattva Technologies and also co-founder of GNEPO Forum. Mr. Prashant Bishwal, Head CSR JSW Group, Odisha. Dr. Sumona Karji Mishra, founder and director, Prante Solutions, and young and dynamic Suham Acharya, co-founder FX UAV, a final year student from PSCT Burla. Please come. So let me extend a very warm welcome to all the panelists of this afternoon or almost evening. I think we are running late by about 20 minutes, or a little more than 20 minutes. So we'll try to make it short and sweet so that we try to finish up within the time, the closer time at least. Let me again read out the topic for the benefit of all. Developing, mentoring, and nourishing an entrepreneurship ecosystem in Odisha, a tangible framework. So I would like to start from where my friend, senior friend and co-founder, Dr. Ajay Mohanty left. He said, or he rather quoted the marketing guru, Peter Drucker, who said, the best way to create future is, the best way to predict future is to create it. So, and Mr. Manas Panda, he said, if you want your dreams to come true, you have to make them come true. It doesn't happen just like that. And we had very, very interesting and encouraging statistics from various speakers and dignitaries of the inaugural session. Like Ma'am Chopra was saying that we have 35 lakhs of people engaged in the MSME sector in Odisha, out of which 8 lakhs are women. So that shows the inclusivity of a state like Odisha, which was sometimes considered a backward state. But this very index shows that we are quite forward. 1/4 of the people engaged in MSME. They not live to. They forget to call you. I had called you. Okay, I'm sorry. Also we had good statistics about the startup ecosystem, that we have more than 1,200, nearly 1,250 startups which are registered with the Startup Odisha. And out of that, almost 1/4 are already revenue generating. That is the interesting part of it. So we have to take them forward. If already started with revenue generating, how to take them to the growth phase further for scaling up, that will be our task by, developing this framework, nourishing, mentoring and all that. And very interestingly, we have got 21 incubators recognized by already the Startup Odisha. I found another interesting fact when I checked the website of Startup India, which says we already have more than 3,000 registered startups in Startup India. That is DPIIT registration, something like 3,300, and that we have 34 incubators. Then I was wondering why there is, the difference in both the figures of Startup Odisha and Startup India. Then I, talked to my friends in Startup Odisha. They clarified that as per our Startup Odisha definition or startup, we have, any company within 7 years of its incorporation can be taken as a startup. Whereas as per the Startup India definition, it's 10 years. So they have taken all those companies who are still in those 3 years. So therefore the numbers is higher there. And even incubators of the MSME incubators are listed there. So the figures are quite encouraging in the startup ecosystem. We have large number of mentors. We have, today, fortunately, we have here also our some of our COO and CEOs of incubators of the state of Odisha, like the Entrepreneurial Park. Ma'am Lopa is there. And we have, of course, people who are very intimately connected with the startup ecosystem, like our Mr. Prashant Bishwal. Before this avatar in JSW, he was the evangelist of the Startup Odisha for almost 3 years. And he, in fact, the growth story of Startup Odisha is very much, he has a big contribution to the growth story of Startup Odisha. So without mincing more words, I would like to now straight away delve into the topic and ask our esteemed panelists to give their comments on the topic for about 2 minutes or so. And then we'll go into, some kind of a little bit of questions, some kind of questions which are relevant to their area or their topic, and try to sum it up within about 30-35 minutes. So I would request Mr. Devu Patnaik to start with, to give his initial comments on this topic of developing, mentoring and nourishing.
Namaskar. Very good evening to all of you. Thank you, Sri Panda, for giving me the opportunity to speak first. Before I get into the topic, can I take 1 minute and congratulate at least Dr. Ajay Mahanti and Amey Naik for the effort that they have put in all this while. Though we have not been in touch, but I know how much they have been pursuing this cause of establishing this entity. And congratulations, Dr. Mahanti, and congratulations, Amey, because I remember it all started in 2013-14, if I'm not wrong. 2015. Yeah. So that's a great thing, great initiative, and hopefully we will try to achieve whatever is being planned. Coming back to the topic, I have an interesting observation about this, because developing, mentoring and nourishing an entrepreneurship ecosystem in Odisha. We have been, there is a general perception around Odisha that entrepreneurship is something which is lacking in the soul and spirit of Odias. And that is why probably we think of developing and nurturing entrepreneurship in Odisha. But let's not forget that our forefathers were the entrepreneurs, basic entrepreneurs. People of Madhya Pradesh or people of Kerala were not known for traveling 7 seas and doing business. It was the Odias who were doing it. So it is there in our blood. It is just that in this past 200 years before independence, we have gone silent, or maybe we have gone into a non-active mode. So there's something we have to reactivate the entrepreneurship skills, and the entrepreneurship ecosystem in Odisha as of now is limited to maybe starting from Barampur to Balasore, with few pockets in Angul and Jharsuguda and over. If we are looking at an initiative like this, it should reach out to the interiors of Odisha. Be it Nuapada, Khariyar, be it Malkangiri. I saw it, Malkangiri being mentioned as one of the destinations. Be it Malkangiri, be it the interiors of Odisha. But we have to reach out to the rural destinations, not restricting ourselves to the so-called, the coastal belt. I think this is from where we can take it forward. Thank you.
Now may I request Dr. Saroj Naik, a very eminent researcher and innovator from IIT Bhubaneswar, to give his viewpoints. You have the topic, I believe.
Thank you. So first, it's a privilege for me to be here. So congratulations to the founders for the GNEPO, and thank you for doing it, because this is something I believe is going to help entrepreneurs like us and all of us who are who have the ambitions to do entrepreneurship, but we need some mentoring. So what is the importance of mentoring and what's the ecosystem? I'm a professor first and then entrepreneur next. We take mentorship for students very seriously, that we know, even for undergraduate students, PhD students. Mentorship is something, there is a Chinese proverb which says that the teacher's job is to just open the door, and then the students will go and find out what is inside the room. What I find, I taught in US for about 20 years. I was at RPI as a 10-year full professor. Before that, I was at Princeton. And I am now at IIT Bhubaneswar. There are some similarity, there are some differences. And what I found the differences in India, at least, we teach quite a bit. We ask less compared to, let's say, in US, to do students, from the students. And so this is where we also do little less mentorships compared to, for example, in US. So that is for, I'm talking about what happens in the colleges, undergraduate or graduate sector. If you look at entrepreneurship, and particularly in Odisha, obviously we are on the starting point, right? I mean, in fact, when I started the startup, IIT Bhubaneswar didn't have a technology business incubator because it was just fresh. So our startup was actually incubated at KIT TBI, right? So, but as pointed out earlier, Bhubaneswar is not entire Odisha. We have a lot of needs across Odisha. So we have to start from somewhere. So I think this platform like this is absolutely essential. What I would also add, in terms of, I think Mr. Mishra pointed out that if you look at Bangalore or other cities, the absence of the government helped. And I think that's true. In fact, somebody asked me when I started saying, did government help? I said, absolutely, they didn't come on my way. That's a big help. But if you have a catalysis, for example, right? So that is nothing like that, that's icing on the cake. And particularly when you're starting from a very low level, that you have a barrier compared to, let's say, somebody who's on the running mode. So for that, you need everybody. You know, I mean, US President Bill Clinton used to say, for bringing a child, you need an entire village. So bringing a company, you need an entire state. So I think this is where everybody's contribution counts. If you have a product, it might be the best, but if you don't get into the market, then there is no value of the product. But the point is, to get into the market, you have so many things to need. Capital is needed, marketing is needed, government support is needed. I'll just make one point. I mean, there are schemes, and I think the government people have left, but if somebody can suggest along this line, say, for example, I know some of my people here from US, there are states that go after the company saying that we'll have a tax break, right? You can make buildings, and that's good. You can make all things for the companies to attract, that's good. But if you give a tax break, there's nothing like that. And the simplest way you can do, even 1 or 2% of GST, you don't have to give it to the company. They will just accumulate it there. That will attract a lot of companies to stay here and to really make them to the next level. So I'll stop here and others can speak. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Naik. Now I would request Mr. Prashant Bishwal to kindly offer his comments.
Thank you, sir. Really privileged to be here. Congratulations to the GNEPO team for a beautiful launch event today. And hopefully, you know, this will add to the strength of the ecosystem that we're talking about today. So I'll just speak a couple of points. You know, when we started back in early 2018, when I joined Startup Odisha, we had roughly 150 startups registered in the portal. You know, normally when people used to visit me, potential entrepreneurs used to visit me or call me, they were talking about, you know, subsidy kaun miliyo, you know, instead of talking about what startup, you know, what kind of other support they need. When I look back today, you know, I still, even not being, you know, part of the system, but I'm still part of the ecosystem. I get calls from startups, you know, asking for help with mentorship, with connections, with, you know, fundraising, etc. So I've seen that transformation, you know, in the last 4 or 5 years. I have seen that journey of the ecosystem, where it is, where it was, and where it is today. You know, I'm really happy to see that. You know, Devu Patnaik was talking about, you know, how Odias were entrepreneurs way back in the history. Now, probably for you know, few centuries, couple of centuries, we kind of lost our track. But you know, I can really vouch for it, being part of the ecosystem over the last 4 or 5 years, that it's coming back. You know, the positivity, the energy is there. It's visible. You know, you see the number of entrepreneurs even during the COVID outbreak. You know, when the entire world was under shutdown, you know, we had the highest number of startup applications coming every month. You know, we were really encouraged with that. You know, seeing that, okay, a lot of people are now looking at entrepreneurship as a full-time, you know, kind of you know, occupation rather. Because, you know, earlier I have seen a lot of people trying it as a part-time thing, you know, doing it for fun, and not really paying that much of attention or seriousness that it deserved. But today, you know, there are hundreds of startups I know personally that are on the right track, great products, solving great problems, and have the potential to make it the biggest in the country. We see how India's ecosystem has transformed over the last couple of years. The number of unicorns. Now we're talking about decacorns and what corns, etc. I don't even know what some of the I read yesterday Piyush Goyal was talking about 2 different corns. So we are really looking at a huge transformation over the last few years, and it's really encouraging to see Odisha startup ecosystem grow. However, I would also put a caution here. An ecosystem is built of many things. It's not only mentorship. It's the culture. How people network, how people support each other, how peer network is built. How not only depending on what is available from the government, but how do you raise resources from your own surrounding, how you work on technologies, how you collaborate with each other, not only compete. I think parts of those puzzles are still missing in Odisha. We are on the right track, but we have to go a long way. We have to really find those missing parts of those puzzles. Today, we have added one big part of the puzzle with the launching of GNEPO here, and I hope the entire ecosystem will be complete soon, which will really strengthen the startups and encourage them to go forward. Thank you.
Thank you for the insight. Now, let me ask our young friend, Suham, about his opinion on the subject.
Hello. Thank you, Ashok sir, and all the dignitaries with me. I am representing a student startup ecosystem right now here, and I will be mentioning all the factors why a student ecosystem really need mentoring while they are starting in the early days. I will start with a very small story. When I was in my second year, one first year girl came to me, Bhaiya, I want to start something. I have this much plan. I have already done this much of homework, and I want to start. So I found something interesting as it was about women's safety, and I found that the skill set she need is I have that amount of skill set. So I helped her completely. I was doing 60% of the whole startup works in my leisure time, along with I was working in my startup also. We worked for around 8 months, and everything was settled. We launched the startup. It was live, and for many people were joining, encouraging us. And one day she came to me and said, Bhaiya, I don't feel like I am made for this startup. I am made for this entrepreneurship ecosystem. I was completely broke on that day, and I really didn't talk to her for around 6 months. Then I realized that the mistake was in me, not in her. I gave everything to build her startup, not the entrepreneur. Then I realized that if I would have walked on her rather than walking on a startup, then she won't have given up at that point. So that is the thing. In the next year, I found another kid in entrepreneurship, had a very good idea. I worked on her, and now she's generating a revenue of around 20-30,000 every month, having 10 to 12 clients, and she's very confident. So this is how mentoring is. But on the entrepreneur, I believe that a very great entrepreneur can build a very great startup or industry. So now coming to other aspects of this topic, I have juniors, those who come to me and said, Bhaiya, अगर एक अच्छा सा टेक प्रोफेशनल मेरे स्टार्टअप में होता ना, ऐप बना देता ना, मेरा स्टार्टअप करोड़ों में कमाता. उसके लिए ना मुझे फंडिंग चाहिए, और फंडिंग मिल गया ना, मैं एक मस्त आईटी प्रोफेशनल को हायर कर लूंगा. दैट्स नॉट द थिंग हाउ इट्स वर्क. लेकिन उनको ऐसा ही लगता है कि पैसा आ जाएगा ना, उसके बाद ये कर लेंगे, वो कर लेंगे. So there what they need to understand that in the early stage you need to do some jugaad to start to come to the market, then you need to raise funding, then you need to go for a proper system. So it was very discouraging, but in the second year, I found more and more like-minded people like me. And now we are a team of 30-40 members in our university, VSSUT Bulla. So this is how things work. So when the ecosystem, the society really needs to be built, because this society is going to encourage the entrepreneurs. Because if they are not going to be encouraged, they are at some point they are going to think that yes, everyone is doing something else and I am doing something else. So they are going to leave their startup journey at one point, and that's going to be the end of their entrepreneurial journey. So that's from my side. Thank you, Ashok sir.
Thank you, Subham. It is really very interesting to hear from a young mind's perspective about the ecosystem. And let me tell you, people have different perceptions about Odisha. In my tenure of 6 to 7 years as the head of IT promotion of the state, I had noticed, people have different perception about Odisha. Those who have not come to Odisha, do not know about Odisha. But once they come to Odisha, explore about Odisha, meet the Oriya people, they fall in love with Odisha. So that is the beauty of Odisha. Now, let me request Ma'am Dr. Subhana Karji Mishra, a very, dedicated researcher in biotechnology and turned entrepreneur. And they're very soon coming with products which will be marketable. And one of the, I think you incubate yourself at KIT TVA also at some point of time. Your views, madam.
Thank you. Thank you for the sweet introduction. Thank you, sir. First of all, I would like to congratulate GNEPO team, the founders, for their beautiful launching. I would like to thank actually for, as a startup from Odisha, it would be a grand opportunity for us to bring our Odisha startup ecosystem to the global map. It will help us to have the network that we are presently deprived of. It might also help us to get the market connect with the US and rest of the world, and we can bring the innovation and the products that we are developing here in the eastern part of India to the global platform. If we talk about the topic that we are today going to address, it is the right time, because in Odisha, the startup ecosystem has run quite its journey. Now we have startups of different strata. some in ideation stage, some has graduated to prototype, and some are trying to entering into the manufacturing, and some already established manufacturing facility. But I would like to mark over here, there are certain lacunae are there, which are holding us, which are not letting us to be in the forefront, while rest of our counterparts in the India are able to do it. So this discussion might help us to bring out some policies, some problems, some solutions which could take care of those lacunae which is holding us. And with this discussion, with all the people around me who are much knowledgeable and have the stake and the say in the government, would be able to bring those changes and make this ecosystem from startup ecosystem to scale up ecosystem. Thank you. This is what I think about.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. I would request my friend, Mr. Ayskant Mohanty. He's a very well-known name. He's a youth icon and very successful entrepreneur of Odisha. So his views, please.
So good evening to everybody. Great to see people around here who was connected to ecosystem, especially key TBI. So I'll just take a few minutes to my experience. I think I have witnessed the startup ecosystems directly, indirectly since 2010. And Debubhai is here. I call him Debubhai. And Prashant is here also. In 2010, we built a forum called Invest Bhubaneswar, and in that forum we went to USA, and then we first time we saw what is startup. Startup क्या होता है, कैसे काम करते हैं. We went to different incubation center. उससे पहले हमारा दिमाग में startup क्या होता पता नहीं था. Somebody start business. I think we 40 people, we went from Odisha with Minister Secretary to San Francisco. Then they took us to different place to see. Then we met Thai people over there. Then we had little idea of what is startup. Then came back very happily and with a lot of energy. Then we are asked to present to Chief Minister, the Naveen Patnaik, I think 1 month back, and Panda sir was there. He made all the details what to be presented. So me and Debbai was there, the IT minister was there, Sujay Patra was there. We made the Chief Minister that point of time. First time we talked about that, can we make Odisha as a startup haven, 2010. So believe me, we have seen everybody's face, including our top leaders, was blank, and they couldn't understand what is startup. Startup kya hota hai? So from that zero level, things has evolved. Lot of advocacy from startup. I mean, Invest Bhubaneswar, then Thai came, then Startup Odisha evolved. Then a lot of incubation centers in around different engineering colleges evolved and happened. And right now, if you see that point of time and today, there is a huge difference. That point of time, I could tell few names. That time we considered startups like Farai. They are very successful. Entrance Firm, like 3, 4, 5 startups were there in 2010 when they claimed to be startups that point of time. And they are not that confident, proud that in our society, that point acceptance is not that great what we are having today. So definitely we have come through the long distance, passed a long distance, and wherever we go right now, I have gone to many colleges, many universities to promote people to take entrepreneurship, startup, they are a career, not in Odisha, outside also. I have seen how things have changed. And as Devubai said, yes, we have in a blood and gene entrepreneurship, we have missing links. Right now, if you see Odisha, many places, many colleges, many universities, key TBI, kind of TBI, the kind of infrastructure we have, the Madam Secretary was telling that, hub, we are proud to have that kind of infrastructure. And another thing I'm telling you that the kind of, the quality of idea our startups, our young aspirant brains they do have, I think amazing. We are at par with anybody in the world. It will everything take time. And I don't think there is anything will. Yes, we have a lack of mentorship and innovation. I mean that in investment ecosystem, it will take some time, no doubt, compared to other big cities like Bangalore and other places. But we are catching up very fast. And Prashant, we have worked together in the startup Odisha. We both are a part of that debate there also. We have seen every time we used to see 10 to 15, 20 startup presenting the idea, kind of energy, kind of ambition, aspiration, I think can unmatchable. So I am sure that we have a great future ahead.
Thank you, Askandavu. The dream which we saw 10 years back, I don't see, why we can't fulfill those with a greater scale, greater height. And Ma'am Chopra was giving the very good rationale why that is possible today in today's environment. And we must all come together, including our GNEPO, very dear GNEPO, to NEPO, to fulfill this dream of Odisha. And I must tell you that TIE, we were talking of TIE. TIE was when that the trip to US, Mr. Mohanty was talking about. I was also there to be there in that trip, and we had a lot of meetings with the TIE Silicon Valley people. And we came back, and I remember the kind of efforts Askan Babu and Debu Babu they put in for making TIE a reality in Bhubaneswar. Then the TIE chapter came in 2010, 11, I believe. And it is a very, very chapter with nearly 35 or 40 chartered members. Debuba will give more detail. But let me come to the second round of my questioning, with which we'll close the round table. One more question is to each of the esteemed panelists, specific to their area or specialization. I'll start with Debu Babu. Debu Babu is a very well-known figure, so in fact, everybody here is well-known, all our panelists. So I skipped the introduction, which I had, painstakingly made and, collected from them. And for want of time too, I'll now request Devu Babu to tell us, by many people, TIE is perceived as an elitist organization. So, and we have presence in most of the prominent metros and cities like that. We have one chapter in Bhubaneswar, TIE Bhubaneswar chapter. And TIE is doing a great job and visibility in Bhubaneswar, mentoring people, helping startups in various ways, in arranging funds for them, angel funding and all that. But what is that, Bhubaneswar is almost nearly established startup hub now. There are emerging hubs. You have to also look at the emerging hubs in Odisha, like, Berhampur, Sambalpur, Jaipur, and other the interiors of Odisha. And there are brilliant talents in Odisha, in those parts of the, state. So what is that TIE could do to bring out the entrepreneurship, to bring out the talents, and make them contribute to the dreams come true, what we are talking about? Devu Babu.
Thank you, Pandav. See, TIE, the Indus entrepreneurs, the objective of TIE is to foster entrepreneurship. Now, what has happened in Odisha, or in the present day scenario, or maybe over the last 7-8 years, with the concept of startup coming in, there is a very limited difference between a startup and an enterprise. An enterprise is something which is one similar thing already there. The difference, rather, I would like to say that the difference between an enterprise and a startup is, startup has an innovation part of it. It has something innovative in it, and it is something which can be scalable. But otherwise, it is also an enterprise. So, talking about fostering enterprises in Odisha has been the prime objective of TIE. As far as the startup ecosystem is concerned, we have been contributing substantially. We have with us at least 7, 8 angel investors, seed investors with us who have, it's not that they are waiting for investment to do investment, they have done it. The angel investors or seed investors of TAI, Bhubaneswar have invested probably starting 2014-15. Today we are in 2022. So for 7, 8 years we have been investing. We have been mentoring. And of course, as I said in my opening remarks, we want to reach out to the interiors. We have tied up with STPI. With the STPI support, we already have done couple of similar, orientation program for startups. One in Jaipur, Koraput, Jaipur. One in Balasore. And we are proposing to take the next one to Baripada, one in Baripada and one in Nuapada. And possibly then we go to Malkangiri. Now, this experience of working with small entrepreneurs in these interiors have been quite exciting. Our boys, as Mr. Mahanti said, our boys have fabulous ideas. It is just that they don't know the path of how to scale it up or how to take it to the next level, which is what we are doing as mentors. TAI has been working as a mentoring organization for hand-holding and mentoring organization in the state for last 1 decade. And I am quite hopeful that in the coming years also, we'll continue to do that, in addition to setting up an angel funding institution, which will be with the TAI, yet away from TAI. I think I answered most of your things.
You have answered very adequately.
Thank you.
So thank you, Devabu.
Can I be excused in that case? Can I be excused for the time?
Yes, that is what I'm coming to.
Yeah.
Devabu has a very important meeting at 6:30, he was saying. So he wanted to go. You're most welcome. And we really enjoyed the insight which you gave about the startup ecosystem and what kind of wonderful work TAI is doing. Thank you very much. Yeah. We have a small moment to. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yes. Now, as I promised in the beginning, we'll make it short and sweet. So maybe 1.5 more minutes each to each of the speaker, and try to close it in another less than 10 minutes. Now I would request Mr. Prashant Bishwal, now in his current assignment of the head of CSR at GSW, I'm sure he'll be able to do a lot for as a part of the corporate. He'll be able to do a lot for encouraging the startup ecosystem of the state. And that is where I would like to ask him, what are those areas where he could, as a corporate, he can contribute, as a CSR head, he can contribute to the startup ecosystem.
Thank you, sir. So just to give you an idea, before, so I have actually seen all sides of, the table. I've been an entrepreneur myself at some point. I've run an incubation center. I worked on the policy side with the government, and now on the corporate side. And when you look at the startup ecosystem from all angles, it still looks very exciting. As a corporate, particularly from a corporate social responsibility point of view, there are few things that corporates can do. Some of them are doing, and some of them I'm sure will be doing in the future, near future. So one of the part of the corporate social responsibility is, how do you bring in sustainable development or sustainable changes in quality of life of people around your, business units, plants, mines, etc. And being corporate in the metal mines, primarily metal mines and energy sector, we do have a significant amount of people who live in an underprivileged condition around our business units. So the basic challenges are drinking water, communication, pollution, what do you call, healthcare, of course, quality of education. So when I joined JSW almost a year back, sir, I started looking at where can I fit in a technology solution. So corporates are a big market for startups products. And they can actually give the space for startups not only to do pilots but also scale up some of those products. I know some of the startups are already working with me. Around 7 or 8 startups are already working with me because I knew what they offer and I knew where it can fit in. The second part of the CSR or corporate relationship with startup ecosystem is encouraging innovation, encouraging R&D. You're already aware we are going to start a program, mining hackathon with STPI very soon. So industry like the mines, there's a lot of scope for innovation. You look at the entire spectrum of startups across the country, there are hardly any startups, very few, probably in single digits, who are working right in the industry of mining and metal, which is one of the biggest GDP contributor, one of the biggest revenue generator for a state like Odisha, or for that instance for the whole of India. You look at Odisha, Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, etc., which are the mining or natural resource states. So huge amount of money there, huge amount of opportunity there. So startups can collaborate with corporates, solve problems, and a very small problem can save crores of rupees for a corporate, and startups can really take it to the global level to sell that product. So from these two point of view, I see huge opportunity for collaboration between corporates and startups, and it's really can change the game. I've seen in certain cases I've tried out some of those products, and digital healthcare, which we are just taking into our areas with the help of a startup called MedTel, which everybody is aware of here. Then we were tying up with somebody else in Paradeep or something. So it's really giving us the satisfaction of providing technology driven solution to our communities while giving business to the startups. So from that point of view, it's a win-win situation, I would say.
Hello. Yeah. Thank you so much, Mr. Vishwa. Mr. Vishwal is not only, a sayer, he also walks the talk. As you said rightly, he has contributed a decent sum to for the mining hackathon, which we are going to do at STPI. And everything said and done, mining is a dirty industry which pollutes the environment. So this hackathon will be, dedicated towards how to create eco-friendly technology for mining, monitoring, and other aspects of it. So thank you, Mr. Vishwal. Now, I would request Professor Naik. He is an academician, a researcher, a mentor, innovator, whatnot. So, so kindly tell us, and that too in a very eminent institute like IIT Bhubaneswar, which is one of the top in engineering institute of the state and maybe this part of the country. So your contribution to the encouragement of students to become entrepreneurs, and particularly the IT students, because IT has very brilliant students, and most of them, once they pass out, they rush for visa to US for higher studies or for better opportunities. So what is that we are going to do to retain them and make them good entrepreneurs and contribute to the economy in a big way?
So thank you for the kind words. I'm not sure whether I will fit into all of those, but anyway, thank you. So when I teach in the class undergraduate students, I ask them, when I want to draw their attention, so say, what you are going to do after you graduate? So as you said, 50% will say will go to US or other countries, and no one says that they are going to be a politician. So I actually tell them that, look, and then the next majority tell that they're going to be professors. So I tell them that, look, if you look at how many jobs are there for going to get visa, that are not going to satisfy all the students, 50% can go. And then there are not 50% that you can get professorships. So then who is going to study? So of the late, there are a number of, or quite a number of percentage people they are saying they're going to go going to go to for business or being entrepreneur, but not that percentage is large. You are correct, but that is changing. If you look at even newer IITs like IIT Bhubaneswar, as I was telling earlier that we didn't have the TBI and our startup was incubated at KIT TBI, but now we have a TBI there. But in general, if you look at the IITs, for the first time I came to know when I came back that we had a called placement cell. And then I told our directors and deans, if IIT students you are worried about for placement, then who is going to make jobs? Because as you said, IIT is considered to be, leading institutions. So I think there is a gap. What I'm trying to say that there is a gap. Things are changing for better, but still we need to improve. What Prasant Babu was telling, if you look at right now, most of the people who wants to do new startup or whatever, they will be in the sector, whatever is boom in US or other countries, right? We have Uber, we have Ola and all this, which is fine. But how many Olas you can have, right? But if you look at, let's say, mining sector, right? This is where our core business is going on. We're using the technology probably 100 years back. And they are not going to give a new technology because the mining in those countries are stopped. So I'll give an example where we came in. I'm not trying to show off, but I'll just take one example where our company came in. So as I said, we are incubated here. And to make the story short, we were basically, when I came back, I found that there's a lot of power cuts in IIT Bhubaneswar in the temporary campus. So we make the first solar UPS, which is patented through IIT Bhubaneswar and through KIT TBI. But then when we took this technology to the rural areas, we found that the farmers, they came and they said that, why don't you have a solar, why don't you develop a solar pump for irrigations? And this is about 2015. So solar pump were available. So we're a little puzzled that why they're asking to develop solar pump, which is readily available in the market. The two things that we came to know through research. I mean, research means you can just get the data and find the results. So one thing, yes, solar pumps are available. So I'm talking about 2015. Can you, I'm asking my friend here, can you guess what will be the solar pump for a farmer? The minimum cost in 2015, just guess.
In 2015, the solar panel would be costing around 15,000-20,000, and the motor will be costing around 10,000 or 45,000.
Right. So I wish that was the number then. So the pump and was the costing about 2 lakhs. Then here is a farmer who have less than half-acre land, and you are asking them to buy a pump of 2 lakh. And you know what? The pump that is available that time was all 1 HP or higher. Those are all good for European Union farmer who have 10-acre land, or 5 HP pump for US farmer who have 100 acres of land. Our farmer has less than 2-acre land, and most of them which is cultivated at this point is about half-acre land. Big companies are not going to innovate this one because it's too much for them, for too little to start. So this is where I think what you are asking, that you have to motivate, you have to mentor, saying that there is a space. And I'll tell you, we didn't do for social because we're companies. I mean, we can't, Prasant Babu has money to spend for the CSR, but we have to earn in our payroll to pay the payroll. So the business is there, and I'll just tell you that because tomorrow is the financial end, we made sure that this year we export our technology, and we are doing that for 2 North American countries. And we have signed last week in Dubai in Africa. So we'll be exporting those. So it's not just for our farmers, also going from here to outside India. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Naik. And I was pleasantly surprised when I saw that your company is also manufacturing rollable solar panels. That I had seen somewhere in WhatsApp. I was wondering, who could be doing it in Odisha, and I was pleasantly surprised to see that. And that is the work with MIT and IIT Bhubaneswar. Yes, and the micro pumps and all that you are doing for the marginal farmers, that will get service actually. Thank you. Now, Ma'am Sumana, you have been a researcher and in deep tech, biotechnology and all that, and then I turned a successful entrepreneur. Now tell us, how does research help to make a real, good startup, and why should researchers also come in and create new startups? Because mostly we find researchers, academic researchers, they write good papers, but many of this research don't fructify into real product or service. So that is where people like you make the difference. So please tell us, how can we motivate more and more researchers to come into this and make real life products and services?
Thank you. So half of the question has already been answered by Professor Naik, because it is the researchers, if the problem has been identified and a solution is needed, either through innovation or invention can be addressed. And for both the things, the research is required. So if researchers comes into this domain, they have already the experience of doing research and bringing up solution. So for any startup where invention and innovation is a key factor, so researchers, more and more researchers, if come into the field, then we can expect the more innovative, not some just a incremental improved product, but a real innovative and inventive product can come up from the India. So and for researchers, it definitely it is a very interesting area, because they get the field to explore their inquisitiveness, creating something new, which they are working on. And moreover, as Dr. Saroj Nayak, Professor Saroj Nayak has mentioned, that the kind of job opportunities is very restricted and limited. For the researchers going mad for the academic career and not getting it over there and getting frustrated and doing postdocs years and after years, and at the end you don't have a tangible career, they can come into the entrepreneurship, create their startup, build products which not only give them satisfaction, a career, but also help to give something back to the society.
So now I'll ask Subham and Askant Babu. Both of them are, one is very successful entrepreneur, mentor, icon of Odisha, and Subham, who is trying to be one. So Subham, we need more of Subham and Ayaskans for the startup ecosystem and for the entrepreneurial ecosystem of this state. So please tell us your quick, you have to tell us in 1 minute, not more than that. Your next 5 years, what vision you have for the 5 years, and what is that you can do to create more Subhams? We want more Subhams. 1 minute.
Okay, I believe that working on entrepreneurs is the best thing because great entrepreneurs can build great enterprises. The second thing I want to say, my aim for the next 5 years is building manufacturing industries of UAVs in Odisha to take more orders from all the Indian industries and other European industries, as well as and cutting their link from China, as China is the greater exporter of manufacturing of airframes of UAVs. And to be, it's not actually, there is a process to be an entrepreneur, right? It's in you, the fire is in you. If you have a dream and you have that much a zeal to achieve that, then you can achieve it, whatever the struggle it may be, you can achieve. But it must be in you, the fire must be always be burning to solve the problem. There won't be any extinguisher to extinguish your fire inside you. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Subham. Thank you so much. Now, Ayaskant Babu, and you're already doing, great things, as part of Invest Bhubaneswar, as part of GNEPO Forum, and part of Young India. So you talk of any entrepreneurship forum, Mr. Mohanty is there already. So what do you see in for next? Where do you see Odisha in next 5 years as a part of this ecosystem which you're talking about?
Well, let me tell you that Odisha, you have a great future, irrespective of the policy, irrespective of other things, because if you see in the aspiration society, the education hub, Odisha become the education hub. And earlier people used to look at, so in society, to go for jobs and other things. Right now, even people from the rural area, passing, and they are children passing out from different colleges, technology colleges or management colleges, they aspire to be entrepreneur. I could see, I interact with so many entrepreneurs. So I could see there is a very great future, and Odisha may be a launching pad for many great entrepreneurs in coming days. I am quite confident, but only thing is that we all have to work together. We all have to work together, be it incubation, be it with government, be it private, be it industry. We need to see, we should have that kind of passion, how to make Odisha was a preferred destination for startups. We all have to extend our support. That's very much required. People who are in abroad, people who are looking back to Odisha as a launching pad, or people who are already working here as a company like us, we all have to extend our support and help startups, young ideas, young brain to take Odisha as one, as Madam rightly said, as the one of the tough startup hub in the country in next 5, not 5 years, in 2, 3. We don't have 5 years. We have to do in year or 2.
Thank you so much for the optimism and encouragement. So we have come to the end of this session. For the sake of time, I'm refraining from making any final comments. Or everybody was very convincing in his remarks and talks. So you can make your conclusion out of that. Now.
No, thank you. I have a mic.
So as rightly said by Ayaskant Babu, we have to put all our might and abilities and skills together. We don't have to work in silos. If you work together, and very, very dedicated, definitely we can achieve the dreams we all saw together today. Thank you. Now I would request the mementos to kindly be brought. I request Ayaskant Babu and our Mrityunjay Babu to kindly honor the panelists with the mementos.
Thank you, Panda sir, for moderating the whole session. I think it was quite interesting. And so should be on now. I thank all the panel members for joining us. This is the launching ceremony of GNEPO. And you have to wait for 3 more minutes because we have Dr. Ami and I going to give the concrete remarks. And then strongest tea on the earth is waiting for you at the backside with very nice cookies, pastries. I don't know what they have, but everybody's enjoying. So you are the one who has not taken this, so it's waiting outside. Don't go anywhere. This door will be closed. You have to exit from that door. Tea is waiting outside. Amir sir, 3 minutes, 180 seconds. The slide over the screen will be off. Thank you, Amir sir.
I once
Thank you.
again profusely thank our panelists for the excellent and commendable views they gave today. Thank you.
Good evening. Sure. Again, welcome to GNEPO. My name is Amir Naik. When the program was being finalized at Dr. Suar's office yesterday and day before, I was quickly given the hardest job to draft a concluding remarks by the end of the forum sessions. I have quickly put together some ideas and I will rush through it, but we would expand it through proceedings and a publication moving towards activities following this event. Slide 1. I'm taking this opportunity to provide a 10-point strategic concluding remarks through a 2-pronged strategy. Today's abstract captured and tomorrow's action plan, next steps. I heard about 20 ideas from 20 different participants. I'm also listening to the audience, those who are either entrepreneurs or would-be entrepreneurs. I'm taking some mental and physical notes, and we promise we'll publish it to GNEPO publications to reach out to people, particularly to entrepreneurs. Well, the number one remark is to develop GNEPO global platform to facilitate entrepreneurship development in Odisha through global exchanges. Number 2, to collaborate with incubator facilities like KIT-TBI, Nest Incubator, OHub, Startup Odisha, STPI, Utkal Innovation Center, and Odisha Biotechnology Park. Number 3, partner with the governments, that is Government of Odisha and Government of India, MSME, Entrepreneurship Department, to help promote government, private, and public partnerships. Number 4, I would be rushing because there are some inbuilt items to number 4 because there are at least 10 different speakers, including the panelists. For Dr. Suar, promote interplays between and among incubators, technologies, ideas, innovations, entrepreneurs, startups, and investors. For Dr. Mohanty Ajay, GNEPO would be developing a global network for the long-term future. For the keynotes, guests, speeches, panelists, entrepreneurship development in Odisha in diverse industry sectors would add economic value to the state and the country through global exchanges. For the government of Odisha's Honorable Minister, Mr. Behera, government principal secretaries, Mrs. Chopra and Mr. Mishra, this time it is Manoj, not Santosh. Odisha entrepreneurship ecosystem development through stakeholderships and government incentives can contribute to the growth of Odisha state. We have been suggested, Madam Secretary, to create a minister, Honorable Minister, to create a roadmap. We already have a roadmap, but following this launch, we'll build a long-term roadmap in cooperation with our partners like the KTBI. For Mr. Pitroda, database creation, connecting, mentor advisory boards, use of LinkedIn and GNEPO type of global platform can add value to the system through scale-ups. For the roundtable moderators, Professor Panda and panelists from diverse sectors, the panelists including Mr. D. Patnaik, Professor S. Naik, Mr. S. Acharya, Mr. M. Mohanty, Mr. P. Biswal, and Sumana, Dr. Karji, developing, mentoring, nurturing entrepreneurship ecosystem in Odisha through tangible framework can contribute to the growth of Odisha. I have had a question that what is the biggest gap area in Odisha? I'm not planning to hear about technology, innovation, invention, people, mentor board. One I find is the absence of investment groups, public, private, venture capital, angels, even an organized family and friends. It's not that Odisha doesn't have money. There's a lot of money. There's a lot of under the table money, but it's not being invested through appropriate investment networks. Well, for the entrepreneurs, I think new business opportunities can be developed through entrepreneuring as a profession and new career path, which is already happening through academic setups as well as startup mentorings. For the corporates, I think it would be interesting for the emerging startups with hot ideas to collaborate, to directly interface, try to partner with the corporate new ventures of large establishments. That would help for scale-up. Like, for example, if you have a product, you need manufacturing capacities, capabilities through investments and large company support. The investment scenario that we have been talking about for a while is to perhaps immediately create friends and family networks, angel networks, small VC funds, government soft money funds, which are already happening through PTBI and similar innovation centers, and possibly to attract international investors that would be interested in investing in Odisha startups. Number 6, entrepreneurship startups, MSME that are okay, but the other major goals would be to develop affordable technologies, products, services, solutions to cater to the various sectors as per the needs of the people. Number 7, one of our focus we have been brainstorming is that GNEPO, because of its technical competencies, should focus on TBE. We call it technology business entrepreneurships, which are already happening, but to kind of create a framework so that we help facilitate technology, business, entrepreneurship development, particularly through the physical infrastructures like the TBI. Number 8, rebrand Odisha and promote Odisha entrepreneurship development through global exchanges and to help Odisha brand globally. Many groups are already talking about it, but there are, I think, gaps in marketing. We have certain resources, but forums like this can create an outreach to creating a new type of name for an emerging state like Odisha. And one of the gaps I see, I have been talking with the inventors, innovators, the TBI CEOs, the scientists and engineers of Odia origin, and particularly the startups that, there is a big difference between invention and innovation. And one of the entry points for Odisha type of situation would be to create a medium-term goal in inventing innovations, not to go directly into inventions. Innovation is easy, but I think that would be kind of a midway path between the high-tech, super high-tech, kind of a midway to look for opportunities to create a framework for inventing innovations and use that to develop new products and services, because that would be an easy entry point for scientists and engineers, entrepreneurs and startups to find an entry point for developing products and to help create growth. There are 2 slides. Ajay, Dr. Mohanty, we call him Ajay Babu. He has 15 slides. I have actually made 2 slides. Through slide 2, we envision creating a virtual consortium model, a new type of organizational structure where we involve Government of Odisha, Government of India, the global entrepreneurs, and the embedded entrepreneurs that are members within the global communities, and pure play entrepreneurial organizations, and of course, new type of platforms such as virtual, AI, digital, meta, etc. And we have identified various groups and departments, and for GNEPO type of organization to interface. The slide 3. The slide 3 is a detailed framework. And we want to build on this framework into the long-term future. And through this framework, we plan to move a letter of intent, which is already there, through a memorandum of understanding to create a novel special purpose vehicle to place GNEPO to become a visible player in support of entrepreneurship development. As you can understand, this is a virtual entity. We are actively partnering with physical infrastructures like the KIT TBI, and it will remain virtual for a while till we have our own resources. So this is the type of structure that we envision that would happen in the upcoming years, where we have the global regional countries creating a virtual network involving North America, Europe, Middle East, Africa, Americas, and also to link up with the Government of India resources such as Indian embassies based overseas. Again, the other side of the slide is covering the government infrastructure such as the upcoming OHub, the MIO, the startup entity, NRO cell, OIEPO, etc. Similarly, the Government of India departments, matching departments such as MSME, entrepreneurship and skills, etc. But one of the groups that we are already interacting is the private sector involving entrepreneurs, investors, industries, MSMEs, and corporates. That is where I think we can leverage the network in support of Odisha entrepreneurship development. Moving. Put the last slide, please. This is the last slide. GNEPO is open for business. Thanks. Very serious thing. Thank you. Thank you for hosting this. Thank you.
So now it has come to an end, the launching, but I think we'll be into action from today onwards. Monty sir.